Welcome to Wrestling Talk. Today I feel like there's a very important thing to talk about. We're going to be talking about things that are becoming things that I just don't necessarily like in the WWE, but I come to accept it. You know, as far as wrestling wise goes, and as far as this WrestleMania season is going to go. The first thing I want to talk about is one thing I don't necessarily think I I really don't like is the fact that Io Sky beat Rhea Ripley for the women's championship. Here's there's a good reason why I don't like it. I feel like and this is becoming more clearer as WrestleMania is coming around. The reason why Rhea Ripley lost the title is because they want Bianca Belair's streak to still stay at WrestleMania, and they don't want her to pin Rhea Ripley as champion, so they're giving that job to Io Sky, so Rhea Ripley doesn't have to be pinned. I feel like that's getting more and more clear. It's getting more and more clear as the days go by that it, that Io isn't really going to be their champion for long. She's just like the traditional champion, transitional champion, which means you just put her on her to make her lose to someone else right away. You know, that's a shame, but hear me out. Another thing I don't like, but I learned to accept, is that Charlotte Flair, if she's in the match, she's 9 out of 10 times going to win it. I might not like her. I think I might not like her, but that's just a thing that you're gonna have to learn how to accept. If Charlotte Flair is in the match, 9 times out of 10 times, she is going to win that match. And that's the reason why I'm not excited for her versus Tiffany Stratton, because Tiffany just won the title, and Charlotte Flair, like the greedy old hag she is, decides to take over again. Like, I understand the Flair name is synonymous with the number 16, but please do not let Tiffany Stratton lose. I do not want to see Charlotte Flair champion again. Like, another another thing people have to accept is that elimination chamber that I learned to accept is that just because my favorite superstar didn't win the Royal Rumble doesn't mean they can't main event WrestleMania. Because a lot of fans did that when Jey Uso won instead of John Cena, but then they forget Elimination Chamber exists, and that could be for the main event of the title. Another thing I don't necessarily like, but I learned how to accept, is WWE not pushing young talent, instead going for Seth Rollins, who's almost 40, by the way. Drew McIntyre, he's my favorite wrestler, but I think you should give it to someone a little bit younger in the spotlight, like Carmelo Hayes or Braun Breaker, which he is. Carmelo Hayes deserves so much better. He put on a really good match against Randy Orton. Like, he deserves to get something for it. You know, I might not always like him, but you could do something with Austin Theory. It's not like you don't have enough young talent to. Even Grayson Waller, she's in 32, but that's considerably young considered to people up in their 40s, or John Cena who's almost 50. I like AJ Styles, but you need to start creating the young talent. Give them more opportunities. If it was up to me, the Elimination Chamber match would have been, instead of having Damian Priest, who's in his 40s, kick him out, put like Carmelo Hayes in there, and another thing I learned to accept is that, wait, before we go to that one thing you have to realize is WWE is trying to, I feel like WWE has been trying to make this title, the World Heavyweight title, mean something. So, here is, I just feel like, that's one thing I also don't like. People say the worst title is useless. But I digress. Let's go back. Instead of Damian Priest, I would have put in Carmelo Hayes, maybe even Austin Theory. Instead of, I like Drew McIntyre, but then that's what got them started in the feud. So I think I like CM Punk. He's my he's my fourth favorite, but you could have thrown him out for like Carmelo Hayes, someone just to prove that they could go with the top stars, you know. Make them one of the final three, just like they did with Punk, but then everything happens for a reason. So the next thing I learned to accept is that the WWE fans are like, wrestling fans as a whole are a very bad community almost. Let me explain my reasoning towards this. First of all, hear me out. You have people complain if there's, and this is just between the AEW and WWE community, we don't realize that we're both equal. AEW and WWE are both pushing old stars instead of focusing on the younger ones. That's one thing we both have in common. Why can't we just have a common interest? Like, why can't we disagree to agree? Like, I never seen a community so much hate with each other, and we all like the same thing, just a different company. Like, but hear me out. One thing I learned to accept is that because listen, here's what people hated Jey Uso just because he beat John Cena at the Royal Rumble, and then ever since John Cena won the Elimination Chamber, guess who is starting to be happy that Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble? Everybody. Like, what is wrong with people? And I feel like the problem, especially with the WWE community, is the fact that they fantasy book instead of predict. Predictions, here's the definition of predictions. Predicting who you think the company is going to win. Fantasy booking is who you think you want to win in your own opinion. The thing is, predictions cannot be judged by favorites. Because, you want me to tell you what? If I let that be my bias, guess who would be winning every match? Drew McIntyre and Gunther and CM Punk. They would be winning every single time. That's fantasy booking. Booking is being realistic. Is WWE going to do this instead of, do I think that this person's going to win? It would be who WWE wants to win, not you. That's fantasy booking. And I feel like people get in the head, if John Cena doesn't win this, it's going to be terrible. Even though the men's Royal Rumble was one of the best, the women's Royal was one of the best, people care too much about who wins it instead of the match itself. I thought it was a very fantastic match, and you could even watch when I rate it. I said that was one of the highest rating pay-per-views of the whole year. A matter of fact, I have a challenge for everybody. When we get through at the end of the year, if you listen, there will be a part 2 to this of things I wanted to accept, but I never seen a community go at each other's throats so much. Too, like, can't I like Darby Allin and from AEW without getting like a whole bunch of hate? Like, I appreciate AEW, it's because they have a lot of people I like, and then they have Kenny Omega, which I despise with all my heart. But you have Darby Allin. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I like him. He's just entertained me. The thing is, why can't I like Darby Allin, and why can't I like both AEW and WWE without someone coming down my throat? Like, come on, man, let me like what I like. Like, that's not just me, that's everybody. People can't be happy unless they're right. That's the problem in the current day. You have to be right. That's the point I'm going to leave off with. Goodbye.